We know two of the games taking place week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. We know that the Kansas City Chiefs are taking on the Baltimore Ravens at Arrowhead Stadium in the first game of the year as the Chiefs celebrate their 4th Super Bowl title in front of a national television audience, and they'll do that at home in a rematch of the AFC Championship. And we know that on that Friday, the Philadelphia Eagles will play the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. And now we know a third game. Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared Gare9, representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about the schedule that is coming out on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. Big stuff happening in the NFL. We're going to find out when all these games are taking place, when every team is playing where and when. We will figure that out on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. But some games are starting to leak. Some games are starting to get announced. The NFL has already said they're going to release some games before the actual schedule release comes out at 8 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday night. And we're going to have some reporters that actually know what they're talking about and get some inside information and figure out when these games are. This is not a shot in the dark. This is not just someone throwing darts at a board and seeing what sticks to try and get engagement. These are people that know what they're talking about. And we know one of the games now. We know that on Sunday of week 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be on the road to take on the Atlanta Falcons. As you could probably tell from the setup behind me right here with the Steelers and the Falcons helmets. So you're going to have Kirk Cousins in his debut in Atlanta against Russell Wilson, his debut in Pittsburgh. Some of the most anticipated games for week 1. How is Russell Wilson going to do? How is Kirk Cousins going to do? Well, you kill two birds with one stone by putting those two teams against each other week 1. Now, we already knew that the Pittsburgh Steelers had to open up the season on the road. They could not open it up at Acrisure Stadium because the Pittsburgh Pirates were playing a game at home that Sunday, and they're also playing Monday at home, so that rules out the possibility of playing Monday Night Football. I talked about that in a previous video of mine. Go check that out. I'll leave a link in the upper right corner, and I'll link in the description down below. So we knew the Steelers had to open up the season on the road just based on the last 10 years of history, and because the two teams share the same parking lot, it wouldn't be big enough to host the Steelers and Pirates at the same time on the same day. We also know the Atlanta Falcons can host week 1. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is available. There is no concert taking place that weekend. There is no Atlanta United game taking place that weekend or that day because it's the international break in soccer. So there's nothing to worry about there from an Atlanta United perspective in terms of Mercedes-Benz Stadium and its usage. I might be saying, how do we know that Steelers-Falcons is the game week 1? How do we know that this is legit? Well, this is coming to a report from the Pony Express, Andrew Filipponi, who says that the Steelers are going to play the Falcons week 1. According to his sources, he has keep an eye on the Steelers opening the season on the road at Falcons, Wilson versus Cousins. Now, Andrew is a reporter on 93.7 The Fan, a Pittsburgh station. He knows what he's talking about. He's got about 100,000 followers. Again, followers are not the end-all be-all, but this is a pretty reliable source. This is not just some fake schedule leaks account. This guy knows what he's talking about. You might be saying, okay, well, he's a reporter in Pittsburgh, but what does he know about the schedule? Well, I have a pretty good feeling he has some good sources and knows what he's talking about. Because in 2023, the schedule came out at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern on May 11th. 2.5 hours before the schedule came out, he put this tweet out saying, "Here is the complete 2023 Steelers schedule. Spread it. Just remember where you got it. You're welcome, Steelers Nation." In other words, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until the show comes on. You don't have to watch the host drag it out. You can get the schedule right then and there from that tweet, and he nails everything. Every single pick is correct. San Francisco over the season, Cleveland Monday night game, Vegas Sunday night game, Tennessee on Thursday night, New England on Thursday night. He got every single thing right in that thing from 2023. So his leak was correct. And if that wasn't enough, you're saying, okay, maybe that was a one-time thing. 2022, he posted this. The schedule came out on May 12th in 2022. And a few hours before the schedule came out, he posted this. Source, week 3, Steelers at Browns, Thursday Night Football in Cleveland. And I guess he was sick, and that's why he was going back to bed. Just based on the replies and based on everything, that's what the now back to bed part means. But with that being said, the game for Week 3 in 2022 was, you guessed it, Steelers against the Browns on Thursday Night Football. So the man hit the nail on the head in 2022. He got the entire schedule right in 2023. This man is connected. This man knows exactly what he's talking about. I have no reason not to believe that his source is accurate, that his source is correct, and the Steelers will be opening up the season on the road against the Falcons. Everything what we know about the Steelers in terms of the availability of the stadium and the Falcons, the availability of their stadium, everything checks out. And on top of that, this matchup has a ton of intrigue. Arthur Smith, the new offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh, going up against his former team in the Atlanta Falcons, the team he was a head coach of for the last 3 years and was absolutely terrible at. You got Russell Wilson again, his first game in Pittsburgh against Kirk Cousins, his first game in Atlanta. A battle of two quarterbacks from the 2012 class. This game screams the national 1 o'clock game with Ian Eagle on the call. Again, I don't know what the network is going to be. I don't know what is going to happen there, but this game screams a national 1 o'clock game with Ian Eagle there. This feels like the number 2 game for CBS. Maybe it could be Fox. Again, we don't know. The networks are a bit weird this year in terms of any network can bid for the game. So CBS, Fox, there's no conference affiliation. It's going to be the Wild Wild West out there in terms of what games are on what networks. But either way, Steelers Falcons, Week 1 to open up the season. It's looking very, very promising that this is the matchup according to Andrew Filippone and according to everything that we know from him in the past. Again, everything checks out in terms of the schedule and in terms of his sources. We'll have to wait and see on Wednesday when the schedule officially drops at 8 o'clock Eastern, and we'll be going live for that on JG9 on the main channel. So be sure to check that out when we go live, as we're going to break down the schedule in real time. But it looks like we got 3 games that we know for sure in Week 1, just announced a few hours ago. Chiefs-Ravens to open up the season at Arrowhead on NBC as they raise the banner. We have Eagles-Packers in Brazil. And now we should know Steelers-Falcons is one of the other games taking place. That's Sunday and Week 1 to open up the season, and a great, great matchup on paper, if I do say so myself. But what are your thoughts about this? Do you think this report is legit? Do you think it will be Steelers-Falcons Week 1? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if it is Steelers-Falcons Week 1, who do you see winning that game? Russ and the Steelers or Kirk and the Falcons? Let me know everything down below. That's going to do it for this episode of JG9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. Helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check my main channel, Jaguar9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. And we live stream the schedule release. And we're going to go live on Wednesday morning when they announce the international games at 7 a.m. Until next time, this is Jaguar9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.